I'm going to go to this group each month, every biweekly, whatever we decide, because I'm going to walk away with X, right? And so if I'm going to walk away with kind of learning about other people's challenges or learning and bringing a challenge and, you know, like what's going on in the market, that's a different mindset, and that's cool. I'm done.
Yeah, no, that's good. I see others holding their hand. Let me just, because I do want to hear from you more than I want to ramble on. So maybe it's just been a long time since I've talked to anybody. I'm stuck in the shell and rambling on. Where I want to focus this conversation, you guys are all volunteer presenters. I really want to look at the presentation perspective. What are you hoping to get from doing a presentation? What are you hoping to get from attending a presentation, right? Like the dynamics how it was before. One person really got to spoke, and then you could participate if you wanted. And if you're the wallflower and you didn't like that kind of attention, you could be in the background, which is fine. And I think we got to respect all types of vehicles. What I really want to drive at is like, I just love the talent of this group, and I just want to bring them out more. And I think some people will share more if they're not the center of attention, but they get to participate. So share with me what you're hoping to get as a presenter, what you're hoping to receive as an audience. And I'm gonna go like with the hands up first, and I'll go to Holly first.
Thank you, Richard. So I do a lot of online networking. I've been in BNI, done the Alignable thing. And the one thing that I really, really enjoy about this group is the relationship building with people that are experts in their field and really experts in their field. I myself, we only do social media, so I rely heavily on a collaborative network to refer business to when my clients need things like websites, SEO services, content marketing, digital strategy. And the thought leadership piece in this group, I find really, really valuable. The one-on-ones I've had have been really impactful in my business. So I really like the model of this group.
Okay, and then the like presenting, and we'll have to try it a couple times, or sometimes you just have to try things and thinking about it. Presenting in a like where like, so I'm envisioning like there won't be like 20 people speaking, but there might be 5 or so. And then like almost like a roundtable where you guys, because you're presenting, get to introduce yourselves and talk about a challenge or a trend. Does that seem amicable in terms of like if you were one of the presenters?
Yeah, and the reason I really like that is because, again, like digital strategy works as a system, not just one service. So if we're talking about a specific goal of a client, like we want to create more leads, then being able to talk about it from a social media perspective, but then have other voices that can talk about how you influence that in the rest of the digital system. I just think that's really a powerful and fast way of getting to the answer.
Yeah, and the nicer thing too, I'm thinking about from a preparation, like those that had to speak had to do a presentation, had to put some effort towards it. That's why sometimes like, oh shoot, I'm not really ready for this. Here you just come with, what's on your mind, what like trends that you're obviously seeing in the market, challenges you're having right now. I'm not thinking you have to do a lot of preparation for it. James, go ahead.
Thank you, Richard. Just from my perspective, at least anyway, because the subject matter I've focused on is so incredibly niche, I don't tend to get referrals from the group for clients. Not to say it doesn't happen, but it's a bit of a rarity. So that's not the reason I come to the group every month or so. It's because I enjoy speaking with peers and learning from peers. And I personally, from my standpoint, I think if you were to have those smaller, dare I say it, slightly more intimate groups, you get to know the people within those specific industries. You get to spend a bit more time with them or spend more time chatting with them. And I feel that makes things a bit closer. And that gives me an opportunity to learn from peers and others in my specific industry. Now, it's not to say that I haven't learned a lot from other speakers over the last years or so, but I've found that when the subjects being spoken about are directly related to what I do on a day-to-day basis, I take more from those conversations as opposed to, well, that was quite interesting learning about the legal side of things, the financial side of things, and then boom, it's gone the following day. And I don't mean that in a dismissing kind of way at all. I just find that the topics that are spoken of, from what I deal with on a day-to-day basis, they stay with me for a lot longer, and those particular speakers obviously stay with my network as well. So yeah, I just wanted to throw in from my perspective. I personally think that as the group as a whole is getting larger. I think these smaller subsets or these smaller roundtables, I think, from my perspective at least anyway, I think would be a lot more beneficial. And just from the, so I'm nearly finished, from a presentation side of things as well, I'm quite keen to get involved. Has been quite a while since I've done one, and I'm a bit rusty. So the opportunity to do it with a slightly smaller and forgiving audience, who may know a little bit more about me and realize, oh God, he's gone down one of his tangents again. Never mind, you might do better next week. That would be a lot more forgiving. I think I would learn a lot, as opposed to, well, I just spoke to over 100 members of the group and I completely died on my ass, and it's going to be another 2 years before I get another opportunity to do it again.
Yeah, and that's not to say. So, Linda, I'm not sure if you meant it. Anybody can attend any meeting, but the priority of the attend, like, so if we talk about introductions, only the speakers would introduce themselves, right? And we do away with like everybody gets to introduce themselves, because it's a part of, you want to, like, there's a network, there's a database, you can go meet everybody in you know, I'm just trying to keep it really focused on one thing. Vanessa, go ahead. OG Vanessa.
Yeah, I wanted to just echo what you said about, like, I really like it for the networking opportunity, and like being a freelancer is lonely, and it's nice to have other people to like talk to and learn from and just like, you know, troubleshoot things. Getting business is nice, but not the main reason. And I also don't, like, no offense to anyone in a BNI, but I don't like BNIs. And if this was to like turn into a BNI, it would make me very sad. Because I feel like the stress on referrals is like, it just changes the whole dynamic of the group. I have had a lot of business through this group. I've been pretty lucky. And I think that that's, you know, a nice bonus, but again, not why I'm here. Might be because I've been here for so long. But as a presenter, like, I'm trying to build up that side of my business. I'm doing more presenting. So again, getting feedback and just getting practice is really helpful for me. I also think that like I offer something that every business can like benefit from, because everyone has to write about their business and they have to talk about their business and market their business. So I think that's where I can kind of add some value, and I like to give back to a group that's like given so much to me. But yeah, that was kind of like my piece on presenting. Like, I think it's nice to give back and also get feedback, and also add value to, you know, do something that can add value to all the people in the group.
So you mentioned presenting, and James did it too. I don't envision, I just don't think there'd be enough time for everybody to present, but do you still see like maybe a micro presentation from each person, or?
Not from each. Well, I guess it depends. Like, I don't know. I like the method we had before, the structure where like one person does it a month. Like, I kind of liked that. And I'm happy to present. Like, I've been doing some new presentations on like AI and content creation and that kind of thing, and lead generation. So I'm super happy to present on those topics if you're interested. But like, yeah, I don't know if every session everyone could present. I feel like that would be too much. But, or even do breakout groups, like maybe offer it and people can join sessions if they're interested.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. In a lot of these communities that I've been looking at, there could be, some of them even have like a webinar within it. Like, you could go and host an office hours and invite everybody to join you, kind of thing. So members could set their own presentations and invite people to it.
Yeah. I'd be open to that.
Yeah. Bonnie, there you are.
There's so many great ideas floating around here, and I love it. And I want to contribute basically some feedback about the speaker portion. So for that, I've done a lot of speaking at virtual events and whatnot, and I found that the people have been most engaged in the roundtable format versus just one large speaker. And so one of the things I really love about this group is that there are so many experts and across like various industries and whatnot. And I love learning from not just the sales and marketing, because as a strategist and photographer, I love hearing from like my colleagues. And if you want to say competition, I don't see it that way either, but I love seeing from my peers in that realm where I work. But I also love learning about the legal stuff, the HR stuff, and learning about the other industries. So for me, I would be really interested to attend those roundtable discussions by those different groupings. And I think that because there are so many different, there are so many people in this group, it could be challenging to say, hey, we want to find like presenters for one particular group. I guess it'll depend on like who wants to volunteer or whatnot, but I really like the idea of being able to have roundtable discussions and get to hear from maybe the 5 this particular time. I've attended speaking events where there's been the breakout rooms, And that's always been either really good or really bad, because either you get to attend the breakout room you want, or maybe you want to go to 2 of them, and then you're like, how do I choose? And then people are hopping in and out while people are presenting, and that's been very distracting to the people who are presenting and having the conversation, because people who maybe hopped in because they spent 20 minutes at the AI room and now they're in on like the photo room, they're asking questions that have already been answered because they missed the beginning of it. So that's just something to consider as well. But I love the roundtable idea. I think that would be a really great way to have people present more often, and maybe get to hear from more people in the group. And maybe there's little one-offs, just like people organize the in-person meetups. Maybe somebody can say, hey, I want to share with the group, whoever's available, and do a presentation or talk as a solo kind of meetup.
Yeah, that's one of the things. And through the holiday, I thought I'd have a lot more time. I guess everybody does through the holidays. But I did get to check in on, like, I listened to a couple of your podcasts, Darnley. I listened to Susan Does podcast. I have to get to Manu's. Manu's done a bunch of YouTube ones. I see like those living in his organization. So people like, oh, I know Manu. I didn't know he did that. Like, I mean, there's just opportunities to just dive in to get to know people better and share that information a little bit better, so you can find it, right? So Darnley, go ahead.
Sorry, too many computers open here. Yes, I'll kind of echo what Bonnie was saying in terms of those breakout sessions are very key. Another suggestion I have is that if we can do sort of a survey, maybe a month or 2 ahead of time on those various breakout sessions, where we can vote or decide which sort of breakout session we're going to be involved in. So kind of it keeps everything sort of dynamic. So we have multiple speakers speaking at the same time, but being able to allow people to join those specific groups when they want. I think that's very, very key and beneficial. And kind of going to what you said, Richard, about, the podcasts and stuff like that, and doing various media stuff like that is also key. And that's something that, we as entrepreneurs can sort of provide out there. Like, for example, I post it once in a while, and I've been slacking because I've been ill the last few weeks, but that's kind of why that's kind of a key thing to kind of take away, and maybe we can promote or be something that we can put our news out there, like through the LinkedIn platform, for example, or if there's another way that we can essentially find ways to promote ourselves, or maybe promote a particular topic. For example, if next week's breakout session, for example, would be for, one example I keep hearing people telling me about is, what's going to happen once TikTok shuts down next week, sort of deal. So then, anyone has questions can, come to my session and we can talk about it. What's the ramifications, how it will look, etc., so forth. So that's kind of my sort of 2 cents at all that as well. So, but and my last comment, and I'll shut up, is I do love the format. It's good to learn from other people. I think that's the key in growth and in human beings. That's something that we need to do to continue growing, because, in my industry, it's never ending, and it'll always change every minute and every day. So, I appreciate everything, and that's what keeps this group so close and near and dear to my heart. So, thanks, Richard.
Perfect. I like that. I like the idea of doing one-offs and you creating your own events that everybody in this group can see, and already has, you already have some credibility because people know you in this group. I think that makes sense. I have seen that capability in a lot of the, I'm glad I'm doing this before I've made my final. I've gone it down to 2 choices, and I'll use a lot of this conversation trying to make some fine-tuned decisions. Linda, one more time for you. I'm just going in order of the raised hands.
Yeah, no,
Everybody's
absolutely.
Yeah.
No worries at all. Thank you. I think I'm still struggling a little bit with, would we still meet together as a whole group? I'm still, or would we meet as 3 separate groups? I'm not still quite sure, Richard. That's just me.
Yeah, and that's okay, because I'm not sure either. I've been tossing it around. Do we meet? Do the 3 groups all meet once a month? So like maybe a Tuesday one group, Wednesday one group, Thursday, and is there an all together? Like, I've been thinking about, like a Friday by the cooler. Let's grab beer Fridays where everybody's there. There's no agenda. It's just like, let's network, let's talk, let's
have a drink, coffee.
Yeah. What I keep saying to myself in the back, because this happened to me through Christmas, is trying to keep up with a lot of the stuff that happens, is to reduce the noise. Like, so how do I I don't want to repeat all the noise of LinkedIn and other things, right? So I'm cautious of that, but I do like, like if people want to digest more of this information, I want to make it available to them. And if people want to share more of it, I think that makes sense too, right? As long as it goes towards that goal of like, we're trying to help each other grow and promoting ourselves by sharing, I think is a great way to do that, right? Depending on how we do it, right? Kamisha, how's Jamaica? I've been seeing you on LinkedIn. Congratulations with doing all that donation and for the school. Excellent. My mother-in-law is doing the same thing for the school. She grew up in Jamaica as well, so I was kind of like, oh, what is she doing that's different? So good, congrats. Anyhow, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. I hope your new year is off to a great start. And if it's not, this is a great place to start reconnecting and start thinking about what you need to do next. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm doing a fundraising campaign for my primary school, which is elementary level, to get them computers. They have 0 computers at this point. So that's been going well. And Richard, thank you very much for this session. I remember the first time we discussed the possibility of me doing a presentation. It was around summer last year or mid-year, and then the date you gave me was like 2025 or 2026 or something. I'm saying that's crazy. But having been attended a few of these meetings, I realized we have a lot of experts. People are quite knowledgeable, and so this reformatting of the group is really important, I believe. I love the idea of having the different types of presenters, so more people get a platform to speak. I think Linda made a point which I was not clear on, like how are we going to rotate the different groups? And I'm throwing it as well back to what Bonnie said about the importance of the breakout rooms and how everything is formatted, because as somebody who joined the group for getting to know people, the networking. Of course, I would love to learn stuff. Of course, if business comes, that's also a plus. But how does that impact the dynamic of what you really set out to achieve in the first place? Is a concern that I have, given the changes that are coming.
Yeah, and I guess that all depends on what your goals are for the group, right? And for like, if your goal is to solely to network and meet people, then you're not going to be satisfied with where we're moving. I think that will happen regardless. I mean, but it's going to happen in a forum where I see it more as attuned to going to a trade show, seeing a speaker speak on, a trade show specific to a learning skill or learning set, like, whatever one you want to talk about. The speakers there are all about the topics within there, but there is networking that happens as a side effect, right? So networking would, for me, would not be the primary thing. And if that, there are a plethora of groups that are just about networking. So I know I'm not hurting anybody by making that directional change, right? So I'd say it would see, like, think about, like, does this make sense to you? Me going networking will happen, but I'm not going to put an emphasis on it. It'll be more about sharing and learning, right? And gaining from each other, right? So I don't know if that answers your question or puts more questions in your head, but that's kind of where I was thinking. So.
Yeah, that absolutely helps. And again, instead of having just one presenter, I see the value in having, say, for example, a round table or a panel of 3 where you come and have the discussions, and that way you also get to, one, it answers a lot more questions while the discussion is taking place, and 2, it allows for that learning that you're gearing the program toward.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say. Thank you, though. Kristen?
Okay. I'm really glad that you just mentioned that you kind of have it envisioned as like going to a conference and see speakers speak, because I really like the concept that was floated around essentially having the group be like a larger mastermind. And I was thinking in terms of some of the roundtable ideas, is there an opportunity, as was spoken about earlier, for the monthly meeting to have your 3 topics fall into those buckets of like specialties, right? Mm-hmm. So still keep that 3-bucket structure, but each of those buckets each month has like a topic that the roundtable will discuss. That is what the volunteers then discuss. You can have 1 or 2 people maybe collaborate on leading it, and then have people volunteer to be part of the roundtable. And then the members can select which one of those 3 topics they'd like to attend. And
Yeah.
then going back to one of your earlier ideas in terms of like that monetary piece, your membership fee potential, is there an opportunity to then have these 3 roundtables on a monthly basis be recorded, and the membership fee actually gives you access to all 3 recordings? So if you attend one, but you really wanted to hear all 3, or, you know, you got 2 good ones that, you know, you have high interest in, what's the opportunity for the member of the group to go back and then watch it?
Yeah, and that's another thing I'm looking at. There is variations about, because that was really important to me to record and make it available for those that can't make the event, because, and there's no harm in not being able to do it, but like get that information back. So there will be like links to where those recordings are. I've been thinking about, do they go up on YouTube? I don't know, but I do like the idea of making that recording available. I'm going to go back a little off something you said, kind of made me think about, if we have a topic, and this is something and I don't know if Vanessa or Rob will remember this, the original, I originally said, hey guys, send me the topics in advance. I'll send them back to you. We'll vote, and it was like crickets, and everybody's so busy, it just never happened, right? But we do need a topic to center the conversation. So that is still a challenge that sits there. I like the idea of, you know, there will be, in these groups, there will be an opportunity for a feed specific to that group. So the potential could be like, you know, guys, got a meeting coming up, you know, start throwing out your ideas, and then others can vote on them. There could be that. And if that doesn't happen, I'm always on the negative side, like, okay, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to work. We could show up and we just solicit it out of the group. What do we, you know, when I say, what are your challenges, what are your trends? It's really for me trying to get to what the hell are we going to talk about right now, right? But I like the idea of figuring that out in advance. To me, I would be able to come prepared for that conversation. I'm just not confident that everybody would have the time to do it in advance. But we could try and see, right? And if it works, boom, roll with it. If it doesn't, we can adjust all through it. I'm pretty flexible on that. Tracy, Burnett, and Tracy, you maybe you could bring a little. You worked with Jonathan. These guys saw Jonathan. Some of these guys saw Jonathan speak. He came to did a presentation when Jonathan and I first met. I love his format. I love his focus. I just don't want to go so much towards that relationship side. Anyhow, your question.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add my 2 penny worth in, really, just to say that, you know, I've only attended 1 meeting, so I'm new in, so I have no sort of, you know, baggage, even if it's positive baggage from before. So the reason I joined was that it was a recommendation from Jonathan, and I was just interested in immersing myself deeper into sort of digital marketing and creative services, because, you know, that's my market. And I think we all have enough, well, I do certainly, of my peer group. You know, I've got plenty of groups for that, but it's also good to keep up with your potential clients' industry as well. And also I work across the US and the UK, so I've got even more to sort of keep up with in terms of, you know, interesting ideas, trends, you know, challenges that people are having. And, you know, I just want to keep learning something new. And I'm really happy always to, you know, deliver whatever value I can. So in terms of the groupings that you've got, obviously I'd fit into sales and marketing because I'm a go-to-market strategist, and I specialize in LinkedIn. But I'm also be interested in creative services too. I like to look for, you know, potential podcast guests, people to recommend to my clients, because people are always asking me, do you know somebody that does this? So that's quite important to me. Obviously, I want the personal interaction because I work from home, like many of us do these days. I love the idea of the mastermind and the round table. And there's just one other idea. I don't know whether it would work, but, you know, I call it an Ask Me Anything. And so I've done these in the past. I haven't done them recently, where basically I designate an hour or even maybe 2 hours where I'm on a Zoom call, and anybody that dials in at any point can ask me a question. So, and I know that's and it's not as time consuming as it sounds, unless literally you've got people queuing up, and then it would take the whole time. But it just means I can carry on work, and if somebody sort of joins me on the call and has a question, then I can answer it and get back to my work. So if there's, which there is obviously here, loads and loads of different experts and specialists, then we could tap into those resources on a in a different way.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, so I love the Ask Me Anythings, and I did have that in mind with this group. Here's the group, here's their expertise, ask them. So I was thinking that format. We could run masterminds within the group as like ad hoc meetings as well. Masterminds has, I looked it up a little bit. There's an accountability aspect of it. It's almost like if you're in a sales group and you're promising to hit a certain target, you're going to do these certain activities. They'll come back to you and they'll say, well, what did you do? What did you accomplish? What didn't you? There's an accountability aspect to mastermind as well, which I think, talking to like, and Linda would know from CEO Global, she's worked close with them. I had Michael Halmar from our group attended one, Dan Snow's in one like that. And I know from Mike's perspective, it's like, holy cow, it was like homework every time I went there. It was like too much, right? So I think we can do them. I think it'll be volunteer, like we'll have it, put it up, and those can attend. I love those ideas, and I like to Ask Me Anything. The other thing too is like you don't have to be a part of one group and not attend the other. You can attend any group. I'm just thinking, if this group is presenting, it's all going to be about them and their topics, and you're attending and participating. So it's more of a focus thing. Does that make sense? Did I miss anything, Tracy?
No,
misinterpret?
Absolutely, yeah.
Let me hear from a few. So Manu, BNI, you brought me to BNI. I love the format. I have to admit, it was very good. Things moved along. We were there for an hour and a half. It was like boom, 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 boom. You're done. Like, holy cow, we're done. What are your thoughts? Any thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I did. I put my hand up and down a few times. I wasn't sure if I should say what I wanted to say, but since you're asking, I'll be transparent because you guys are so lovely. So there was a bit of hate amongst the group regarding BNI. A lot of those are misconceptions, and there is some element of truth. So this is how I look at it, guys. At the end of the day, we're all entrepreneurs, right? And at the end of the day, we're all looking to grow our book of business, right? And if we're all financially comfortable, we'd be on a beach somewhere in the middle of January, right? The fact that we're not, there's a reason for it. So yes, we have to learn. We have to create this culture of sharing and collaborating, and the words that you used in the beginning, Richard, was teamwork, right? And we have to, those are buzzwords, but we also have to develop this mindset that this is my posse, this is my crew, right? We roll together. And if I hear my client say, oh, I need a digital marketing person, I come to this group and we identify who's the best person, as opposed to me going on to someone on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
So we have to develop that mindset of caring for each other, like this wolf pack mentality. That's what I feel.
So should there be something dedicated? Like I could create a channel dedicated to and I think referrals, like there has been a lot of referrals passed around this group. And somebody mentioned, not even you, I can't even remember who mentioned it. It might have been, it was Rob. Sorry, it was Rob when we were talking, we were getting our photos done with Bonnie, that there should be a celebration of these, because people who refer leads to business, they should get some credit for it. And I definitely think that should be a huge aspect of our work. Like if you're working, you share the admiration of the people within this group, and you see some work, you should feel comfortable recommending them. And I think that should be a part of it. 100%. I agree with that. Valerie, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to also talk about BNI, having been in one. And one thing is, that's how I met Linda. And so they have a definite place. I don't see for me, this isn't my place. If it's a natural evolution, then absolutely I would reach into the group. I come to this also for relationships, building relationships. I come to it really to expand my mind and my mindset as well, and just really get
just being more current, because as we've said, we're all so busy and we're heads down a lot of the time. And so for me, I don't always keep current on everything. So I love that. I don't want to always feel like I have to give referrals. I want to give referrals because I've heard from somebody. People are sharing wins and I keep current, and we're on LinkedIn so I can see what people are doing, or I'm part of their newsletter. So what I've been hearing is people really want ease. We don't want to walk away with a lot of homework. We want to learn something that is relevant to our situation. And we just want this to be a good use of our time, because taking an hour out of our day can be difficult sometimes. So really, if we keep that in mind, I love the idea of the breakouts and having the ability to choose which we want to go to. I also do love all coming together as well. So I'd love to see how we might do that. Maybe it's twice a year or once a quarter, we do a full meal deal of everybody. And I'd also love to see us participate more in the LinkedIn chat group, where it's not all just sales, but it's actually bringing a nice bridge from what we're talking about here over into the LinkedIn channel. So that's just my 2 cents. I know that that was my reason for joining the group. I am not, I don't work in an agency. I support agency owners. So I love hearing what's going on with all of you and the challenges that you're facing. It informs how I work with my clients.
Thanks, Valerie. I just noticed the time, I've gone a little bit over. I can stay a little longer. I think I've got a good idea of what you like. If you didn't get a chance to share with me, just shoot me an email after the fact. If you feel more comfortable sharing one-on-one, we can jump on a call as well. So let's move forward. Does anybody have any last sort of concerns they wanted that's burning that they think they might forget and want to share before we go? No? Okay. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your lunch, or most of you, depending on where the heck you are in the world, and sharing this. And I'm excited with what you're telling me, and it's kind of fitting into what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping it'll work out well for you guys as well. All right. That said, I'll keep you posted. And look, I'm really trying to work towards February of having our first sort of wonky first try at this, and then kind of going from there. So look for more to come from me via email. All right, guys. See
Thanks,
ya.
Richard.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Bye, guys.